in an open sea and under full sail. A cannon that breaks its moorings suddenly becomes some strange supernatural beast. It's a machine transformed into a monster. That heavy mass on wheels with the rolling of the ship plunges with the pitching, whirls around, slips away, dodges, rears, bangs, crashes, kills, exterminates. It's a battering ram capriciously assaulting a wall. Add to this the fact that the ram is of metal and the wall of wood. It weighs 10,000 pounds, yet it rebounds like a child's ball. It spins around and darts off at right angles. What's to be done with this enormous brute of bronze? You can't kill it. It is dead. And at the same time, it lives. It lives with sinister life. The deck beneath it gives it full swing. It is moved by the ship, which is moved by the sea, which is moved by the wind. In an instant, the whole crew was afoot. The gun captain had failed to secure the mooring chair, had carelessly braced the wheels of the gun carriage. This allowed slack between the sole and the framework, so that the gun was no longer cinched on the carriage. A heavy sea struck the gun port, and the carronade, insecurely braced, had recoiled, broken its chain, and began its terrible course over the deck. At the moment when the chain snapped, the gunners were busy in their usual work. The carronade had hurled forward by the pitching of the vessel, made a gap in the crowd of men, and crushed 4 at the first blow. Then sliding back, it shot out again as the ship rolled and cut 2, and a 5th, unfortunate. This caused the cry of distress just heard. The men rushed to the companionway, and the enormous gun was abandoned. It was given up to itself. It was its own master, and the master of the ship. It could do what it pleased. The crew, accustomed to laugh in the time of battle, now trembled. To describe terror is impossible. The cannon was rushing back and forth over the deck. It had already shattered 4 guns and made 2 large breaches in the hull, luckily, fortunately above the waterline. 4 of the wheels passed back and forth over the dead men, cutting them, carving them, slashing them, until the 5 courses were stumps rolling. 5 courses were a score of stumps rolling across the deck, and the heads of the dead men seemed to cry out. Rivers of blood curled over the deck with the rolling of the vessel. The planks, damaged in several places, began to gape open. The whole ship was filled with a horrid noise and confusion. The captain promptly recovered his presence of mind and ordered everything he could do to impede the cannon be thrown down into the gunway. Mattresses, hammocks, spare sails. But what could these rags do? In minutes, they were reduced to lint. The breaches in the hull were enlarging, and the corvette was beginning to take on water. The old admiral stood like a man of stone at the companionway. Every moment of the runaway carronade threatened the ship's destruction. A few moments more and foundering would be inevitable. Suddenly, in the midst of this inaccessible area, a man appeared. He was the author of this catastrophe, the gun captain, guilty of criminal carelessness, the master of the cannonade. He seized an iron bar in hand and jumped into the hatchway. He stationed himself in the corner, bar in hand, leaned against the frame, braced his legs, waited for the cannon to pass him by, and suddenly it leapt towards him. The man dodged the blow, and the battle began. On one side, brute force, and on the other side, a human soul. This sightless thing seemed to have eyes. It rushed towards the man. He, subtle, nimble, expert, wheeled away from with his lightning movements. He avoided a collision, but the blows which he parried fell against the ship and continued their work of destruction. The man went on fighting. Such things cannot continue long. The cannon seemed to say, "Let's finish this," and it made a sudden dash for the gunner. He sprang to let it pass and mocked it with a laugh. The cannon, enraged, smashed the gun on the port side, then hurled itself back at the man, who made his way to escape. But the old admiral, till then this moment motionless, seized a bale of wadding at the risk of his life and thrust it between the wheels of the onrushing carronade. The carronade stumbled, and the gunner leapt forward and plunged the iron bar into the spikes in one of the rear wheels, arresting the movement. With Herculean effort and using the bar as lever, he overturned the 5-ton monster. It had ended. Man had conquered. The whole crew rushed below with cables and chains. In an instant, the cannon was secured. And while the ship's company was hastily repairing the damage, the admiral and the man went on deck. and the captain went on deck. Behind them walked the gunner, haggard, out of breath, his dress disordered, but with a look of triumph on his face. And the admiral turned to the captain and removed the cross of St. Louis from the captain's blouse and pinned it on the gunner's jacket. And the Marines presented arms. Now, have this man shot! And at a signal from the first lieutenant, a light flashed on deck. Fire in the darkness. Then all was still, save for the sound of a body cast into the sea.